Hi there, if you don't know me, my name is Anuj and I'm traveling to all the 50 states of the United States to spread the awareness on discriminatory country cap on green cards for specialized job. And today I'm at my 12th state, Connecticut, and the state is very near and dear to my heart because I went to school in Connecticut. And it's appropriate that this is the thing I'm gonna ask people is that should there be country cap on student visa? And as you can see, this is for fiscal year 2022 data that India received 115,000 student visas, China received 61,000, and this is the third state. So you see even the third country drops significantly. South Korea received 80,000. So these are the top three, and then it goes down. These are some of the countries which didn't receive any student visa at all, and this is the number that this is the how many total student visa got issued during the fiscal year 2022. So this is the question I'm going to ask, that should there be country cap on student visa? As if you know that usually I am in front of state capital, which I'm going to go later, but right now I'm in front of University of Connecticut because the topic I'm going to discuss is related to student visa. But first, today I wanted to talk about why there is huge backlog in America for skill-based green cards. This is like you very rarely see in any developed country, that there are high-skilled workers whose immigration petition is already approved. They have been living in the country for so long, some like me more than a decade, right? I have been here for 14 years. And there are many more people like me who are doing like high skilled jobs, and they have been in the country for more than a decade, and some of these people's immigration petition even got approved before a decade. So why in the United States there are like so many high skilled workers with the approved immigration petition, they are not able to change their status? And the problem starts here. So when it comes to student visa, if you don't know, there is no quota for student visa, which means that USA can issue as many student visa as needed, right? So if they need million, they can issue million. If they need 100,000, they can issue 100,000. So there is no quota on how many student visa can issue, and there is no country cap, right? Out of this 411,000 they issued in the fiscal year 22, you see that India received majority of the student visa and they don't have any issue with it. So there is no country cap on student visa. And what happens is that all the American universities, they try to recruit or admit the best of the best student they can, right? They receive like applications from students and they try to admit the best of the best student they can, and then they have to go through the visa process. So then in the visa process, when they go to consulates to get their visa, they are kind of act as a gatekeeper, that they want to make sure that all the people who we are admitting to the United States, they are going there to study and they're gonna obey the laws. But what happens is that there is a huge shortage of STEM graduates in the United States. There are like a lot of people in the United States, they work in the STEM field, but it's not as many as there is a demand. If you have seen the pattern, is that the most of the student visa USA issues are for STEM majors. If you see the number, you might have seen that any students, international students you meet from India, you might see that they are studying in the health science department or they are in the tech department. The reason is because that the most of the student visa USA issues are for STEM majors. Yes, they issue for other majors as well, but the majority of that goes to STEM major. And also, like if you see that the graduates in the STEM field, they receive 3-year optional practical training versus like non-STEM field, they only issue 1-year work permit after your studies. So that makes sense that this is the skill which USA has shortage of, and that's why they issue more visa, student visa for the STEM majors. So USA admits best of the best student, mostly in the STEM field. They receive the student visa. Now what happens is that once they graduate, all the all the companies, all the corporations and hospitals, they try to recruit the best of the best people, right? They want the best employees, so they got the job. They can work on the work permit they received after finishing their studies, but that's only valid for 3 years. So what if they want to stay longer, or what if this hospitals and corporation, if they want to keep them longer, then they can file their work visas. Now these work visas are called H-1B. They have a quota, not more than 85,000 work visas can be issued. Of course, there are some professions where there is no cap, but otherwise, like for the most of the fields, there is like total limit of only 85,000 work visas can be issued each year in the United States. So what happens is that the student visa, they didn't had any quota, and they didn't had any country cap. Now work visa, there is a quota, right? So you see that the 411,000 students got admitted in the United States, but now when they finish their studies, only 85,000 will be able to get the work visa in one particular year. So the other students might have to leave the country at some point, or they might have to try another year. So that's the thing, that now there is a quota, but still there is no country cap on work visas. As you see that the most of the students in the STEM field comes from India, as you can see here. So most of the H-1B visas will also go to India, and now that H-1B, you can only stay on the H-1B for 6 years. Now while they are working, if their employer feels like we need this employee for longer, it could be like big corporation or hospital, they feel like, okay, whoever is working for them on the H-1B, we want to keep them longer, then they need to file their immigration petition, because like H-1B, on H-1B they can only stay for 6 years. So they file their immigration petition, which eventually leads to green card. So but what happens is that now those green cards for specialized job, there is a quota for that. That's like no more than 140,000 green cards can be issued each year for the employment based category. But another thing is that now that category has also country cap based on the country of birth. So out of this 140,000, only 9,800 visas or the green cards can go to one particular country. And then if your immigration petition gets approved, and then if the visa number is not available, then you can continue renewing your work visa. So now you see that the 115,000 student visa were issued. Now let's say that the 15,000 moved to another country or went back home after finishing their study. But if you see the trend, at least 100,000 will decide to stay, and eventually they will apply for green cards. But now there's a country cap, so each year only 9,800 Indians can get this employment based green cards. So this is like 100,000, that's like 10 years of backlog. Now doesn't mean that they have to go back, they need to keep renewing their work visa. Their immigration petition gets approved, but now they have to keep renewing their work visa, and they cannot change the status. So what happens is that for Indians whose immigration petition got approved in 2009, they are receiving their green cards now. So they had to wait 14 years, and that problem is escalating every day, right? Because like this is just the FY22 number, but then there were like FY21, there will be each year, if you see that the Indians receiving the student visa is increasing, which is a good thing, that whatever skills has a shortage in the United States, India produces that skills the most, right? So it's good thing. But what's not good thing is that there is no cap on student visa, like no country cap on student visa. Then there is no country cap when it comes to work visa. But then there is cap when it comes to filing for the permanent residency. There is a cap when it comes to green card. So what happens is that all these companies and hospitals, they are able to keep these Indians on the work visa forever, they are not that much worried that they will receive the green card or not, because they are able to keep them on the work visa. USA is meeting their labor needs because these people, they have figured out a system to keep them here, but they are not able to change their status to the permanent residency. Meanwhile, someone from Paloa, let's say that they haven't even entered the United States, but if they met requirement, they can file their green card without ever being here. As long as they have a job and company files their petition, they might can get it here in 1 year with so much less experience and skills than compared to some Indians who has been living in the States for so long. They might have paid the student fees to all these universities, and they might have paid a lot in taxes throughout the years they worked, but now they are stuck in forever, like never ending backlog. So that's why it's not fair. That country cap is not fair in general, but if it is fair thing, then why not put it on the student visa? Why not put it on the work visa? But the reason why they don't put it is that if they put the country cap on student visa, all these universities will oppose that thing, right? In the when Trump was president, he issued an executive order during the COVID. All the universities was shutting down, and he issued an executive order that if you are like not attending in-person classes, then they have to leave the country. So as soon as that executive order was issued, a lot of universities sued Trump or that his administration. So he took that executive order like around, I think within 2 days it was taken back. But right now, why all these universities are not speaking up? Because they are getting the best of the best students without any country cap. All the corporations, all the hospitals, they are not speaking up because they are getting the best of the best employees without country cap, and they are able to keep them on work visa forever. The problem is that the people are suffering, mostly people who were born in India, but then USA is still meeting that labor gap. So no one is speaking up about this issue. So that's the problem. So anyways, that was long, but yeah, that's the thing I'm gonna ask people today, that should there be country cap on student visa, and we'll see what the response is. So yeah, I'm gonna head to the state capital now to protest. There is like very few people here, so I'm gonna head to the state capital and see how that goes.
हर संत कहे साधु कहे सच और साहस है जिसके मन में अंत में जीत उसी की